Good afternoon. Cocaine, meth, machine guns, and gangs. It's a recipe whose deadly consequences play out on the streets of Houston every day and every night, leaving citizens in fear north of Greenspoint to the southwest side of town. That reality is why we are all here today. My name is Alumdar Hamdani, and I am the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Texas. And along with 13 of my office's partners, I am here to announce charges and arrests relating to 20 people, all of them now in custody for drug and firearms-related charges that are brought by not only my office, as well as the Department of Justice's Violent Crime Initiative. Between July 31st and August 22nd, a federal grand jury returned 6 separate but related indictments, according to a brief that the United States just filed seeking detention for several of those folks. Of the 20 people arrested, one of them, Alfred Jacoby Green, aka Kobe, is allegedly a documented member and one of the leaders of a gang known as the Rich Kings, that's predominantly on the south and southwest side of town. Rich Kings, as it's alleged in the brief, distributed, along with Green, kilograms of quantities of cocaine, not only in Houston, but also to the Midwest and East Coast, such as Ohio and Virginia. It's also alleged in that brief that Green and Rich Kings are affiliated with other criminal networks in the Houston area, including Green's primary cocaine supplier, Jose Alex Lopez, who along with 5 other co-conspirators was charged in a separate case. Now the charges themselves allegedly encompass at 30 firearms, meth, and more than 15 kilos of cocaine collectively. In connection with this week's arrests, law enforcement executed search warrants that resulted in the seizure of 10 more firearms and over $26,000 in cash and cocaine. Now, most of the 20 are charged in 2 of the indictments with conspiracy to distribute controlled substances, as well as multiple substantive counts of possession with intent to distribute a controlled substance. Some are also charged with illegal possession of firearms, and 2 of the defendants are charged with the criminal possession of a machine gun, a firearm that was altered with a machine gun conversion device, a small plastic thing called a switch. And that gun will fire automatically with one pull of a trigger. And 1 other defendant faces a charge of maintaining drug premises. Now, 17 of the 20 were arrested. It took about 300 law enforcement personnel to make the arrests yesterday. The 3 others were already in state custody. One of those arrested is an elementary school teacher. And according to the brief we just filed, she was on a call taking part in that drug conspiracy while she was at school. And you could hear the children in the background. Now, these arrests are a direct result of an almost 2-year-long investigation by the FBI's Houston Safe Streets Task Force in partnership with the Houston Police Department, Texas Department of Public Safety, and dozens, as you can see, of local, state, and federal agencies, many of them represented here today. Now, these indictments are the latest of 23 indictments charging 77 people as a result of the Criminal Division's Houston Violent Crime Initiative, which was first announced in September of 2022. In a little less than 2 years, the Department of Justice's Criminal Division and this office announced a commitment to combating violent crime in Houston. And we do this by doing several things. But 1, by focusing on hot pockets of violent crime and gang activity, using a data-driven approach to identifying those areas, such as the southwest side. And last year, around this time, we announced another large takedown encompassing the east side. And We also combine all of the resources of the DOJ, bringing together violent crime and gang prosecutors from both the DOJ's criminal division as well as from here in the Southern District of Texas. Those surges of resources from the criminal division into the Southern District of Texas has been a game changer. But this effort takes more than just DOJ. It takes a whole of government approach, federal, state, and local. And over the past years, we have been working closely with multiple agencies, such as my good friend Doug Williams, the SAC of FBI, and my good friend Noe Diaz, the Chief of Police of the Houston Police Department. Drug trafficking in Houston and throughout the United States is a rampant problem that continues to take lives. It takes lives through violence that goes hand in hand with drug trafficking. It takes lives in the deaths of people who overdose using those drugs. It takes lives in the communities that are left ravaged and ruined in their wake. Now, but our commitment to Houston's communities does not end just with arresting alleged violent offenders or drug dealers. An important compartment of this effort has also been community engagement, specifically the communities affected by violent crime. We want our communities to know who we are, what we do, and how we can help. Look, reducing drug crimes is a top priority because drug crimes bring gangs, violence, and harm to communities. And as I've said, we have now charged 20 alleged gang members or affiliates or known drug dealers across 6 indictments in relation to drug trafficking and firearm offenses. And through these charges and other indictments we have brought under the Violent Crime Initiative, we are restoring community trust and helping rebuild neighborhoods that have been long plagued with violence and drugs. As you can see, there are a lot of people working every day to reduce violent crime, whether on the streets or in the courts or in community centers. One of those people is my good friend Doug Williams, the special agent in charge of the Houston FBI. After he speaks, Chief of Police Noe Diaz will speak, and then I'll come back up and take any questions.
Good afternoon. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the introduction. My name is Doug Williams. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI here in Houston. I'd first like to thank Chief Diaz, Sheriff Gonzalez, and Sheriff Fagan, who are behind me, and all the other law enforcement partners that you see standing behind me here today. Without their partnership, we wouldn't be standing here today. So thank you all for being here. Early yesterday morning, while many of you in our community were still sleeping or just waking up, FBI Houston agents, along with tactical teams from FBI New Orleans, the Houston Police Department, the Texas DPS, the U.S. Marshals Service, and the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office were up and running, taking violent and repeat offenders off our streets. This was all part of the latest large-scale operation targeting violent and repeat criminals. By 6:15 a.m. yesterday, we had most of our subjects in custody. In total, we federally indicted 20 individuals as a part of this operation. 17 of them were arrested yesterday, including a 3rd grade school teacher. This operation was carried out by over 300 of our law enforcement partners that you see standing behind me today, which include the Marshals, DPS, ATF, DEA, HPD, the Harris County Sheriff's Office, the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office, and the Sugar Land Police Department. During this operation, we seized weapons, drugs, cash, vehicles, and jewelry. So you may ask, why these individuals? Well, we believe, and evidence will show in court, that they are a part of the Rich Kings gang, which has been operating for years out of Southwest Houston. and is responsible for drug trafficking and violent crimes across our entire city, including several murders. At the last news conference highlighting the results of the DOJ Violent Crime Initiative, FBI Houston promised that there would be more arrests to come. Well, today's announcement is us making good on that promise. These types of mass arrests don't just happen overnight. They're the result of years-long investigations and evidence gathering, recurring weekend and overnight surveillance shifts, hours and hours of intelligence analysis, and meticulous tactical planning. I want to be clear as I stand here today. The FBI does not do these types of operations alone, as evidenced by our local, state, and federal partners that are standing behind me here today, and everyone working on this case yesterday to make sure that these individuals were safely taken into custody. It takes a team dedicated to sharing intelligence to do these operations successfully. Part of that team, some of the agents, task force officers, analysts, and prosecutors are here in this room today. They may not be in front of this podium, but they certainly deserve the recognition for a job well done. If it weren't for them building federal cases against violent and career criminals in our city, our neighborhoods would be a lot less safe today. Since the DOJ-supported Violent Crime Initiative was launched 2 years ago, FBI Houston has arrested more than 65 violent offenders, taken more than 130 firearms off the streets and out of the hands of violent offenders, and seized more than $1.3 million from just this operation alone. These numbers are a fraction of what the FBI and our partners are bringing to the day-to-day fight against violent crime in our city. When it comes to fighting violent crime and protecting our community, it takes all of us working together as a team and sharing information to get results. I am proud to be here at this podium with this team today to highlight their great work. And lastly, we know that yesterday's arrests will help our investigators connect the dots on several cases, including unsolved murders. We also hope that yesterday's arrests put some people at ease and encourages them to share critical information with us, information that they may have been afraid to share before. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Noe Diaz. I'm the Chief of Police of the City of Houston. First, I want to thank everyone here. It is my distinct pleasure to work with my colleagues, my dear friend Scott Rosenberry with DPS. Like both these gentlemen said before me, this is a collaborative effort. I want the community to know that every agency here is working every single day to make this community better, to make it safer for the future of our children. The hard work put together by our tactical operators, by our dispatchers, by our crime analysts, as Doug said, is incredible. Our civilian staff that puts it all together needs to be recognized as well. This doesn't happen with a bunch of guys in SWAT gear. It happens behind the scenes. It's deliberate. It is a collection of like-minded people that are purpose-driven and not action, or not attention-driven. So I want to thank Mr. Hamdani, the USA, sorry, we've been friends a long time. So, and Mr. Williams for their partnership. It's an incredible day. The Houston Police Department is here to help. We want to make this community fantastic. I want to thank my team here, my executive staff who did a lot of work, a lot of hours, a lot of text messages with information going forward. But it is an incredible day for the City of Houston. This is an incredible investigation with some really hardworking people. I want to recognize Sheriff Fagan and Sheriff Gonzalez for their efforts. 24/7, they can be reached and they're putting it together. So know that this city is safe. The collaborative efforts are happening. And I want to thank everybody, our members of the press that are here to bring attention to this investigation, because the people need to know the truth. And this is what the police departments and other agencies are working to make the community safer. Thank you very much.
All right, I'm happy to answer any questions. Yes.
You mentioned a teacher. What can you tell us about that teacher? Can you tell us name? Can you tell us their involvement and where they taught?
Yeah, can't tell you where they're taught. I'll tell you it's a local school district. The name is, I'm going to tell you right now, Jessica Ferguson. And then as far as the conspiracy goes, it's what's alleged in our brief is that she was assisting with many things, including the recovery of cash that was gone and some drugs that were also gone. So, and like I said, these conversations, according to our brief, happened while she was at school. I believe she's an elementary school teacher. Yes.
I wondered if somebody could sort of put all of this in context with the pandemic, and we have seen crime numbers go down since the pandemic.
Mhm.
Did we see more of this gang activity? Is this sort of something that was caused during that time and then continued until these arrests? Or does it not have too much to do with that spike in crime?
So I know there's a spike in crime, of course, during the pandemic, and, you know, my good friend over here, the chief of police, will tell you quickly that, you know, crime went up during that time, and crime has gone down since then, probably as a result of the pandemic or is coming back into society. Part of that, though, is, I can tell you this violent crime initiative happened as a result of the spike in crime. And so because of that spike, we realized, at least the DOJ, that we need to collectively get our efforts together, work with folks at the FBI, with ATF, and all of our local and state partners to make it happen. So if anything, those numbers definitely, caused us to get together and do this violent crime initiative.
Got it. And just to be clear, all of the people who, the arrests that, or the indictments that you're announcing today, they're all members of that same gang?
No, just to be
Okay.
clear, they're not. And so the one person I did say was a member of that gang is Mr. Green, otherwise known as Kobe. And then the rest of them are going to be affiliated with working with Mr. Green. Some of them may be, and others are going to be other parts of other organizations. But Rich Kings, he was a leader, at least as real edge in the Rich Kings.
Got it.
Yeah.
You mentioned the data-driven approach.
Yes.
Can you take us through that process and how it led you to Mr. Kobe and these other individuals alleged to be involved?
So I'll say the data-driven approach is really more of a violent crime initiative, larger picture. And so that data-driven approach happened several years ago. We're constantly looking at our data. Oftentimes, though, I would say this cases are built on informants, on undercovers, and on the normal nuts and bolts grunt work, as we call it, of law enforcement. The data helps us, of course, focus our very limited resources in specific areas.
How large is the Rich Kings gang approximately?
I am not too sure how large the Rich Kings gang is. I do know it's still out there on the southwest side.
And you spoke about unsolved murders, hoping that this series of indictments, or the latest in the series of indictments, will help potentially connect the dots between them. Can you say a little bit more about the murders themselves?
I did not mention unsolved murders, and I want to be very clear, this case doesn't deal specifically with any unsolved murders. I can tell you violence is a big part of drug trafficking. And so what we will see oftentimes with resulting of drug trafficking in general will be violence. And so, as people come forward and they cooperate, maybe we can get some information there.
Do we
Yes.
know of any specific incidents over the past few years that we may have covered or our community may have seen where any of these people were involved in?
So what I'm going to do is stick to what's in the indictment and what's in the brief that we filed. And so with that, I will say that what we know these folks are involved in is drug trafficking, kilos of cocaine, and possessing all sorts of firearms while they're doing that, including, of course, machine guns.
The take, I don't know if this is the right terminology, but the
Takedown's
takedown
good
of
to-
all the
yeah.
individuals yesterday, right? I believe you said, what was it, 17 or 20?
17 of the 20 were arrested yesterday.
Were those all peaceful? Did they have any incidents involved at all?
From what I understand, it was because of the great work done by local, state, and federal law enforcement. Everything went down without any incident, and that's important. And that's a big deal. So I can tell you, I said earlier, 300 law enforcement personnel were involved. That's a lot of personnel. When you've got 17 people in many different locations, in varying ranges of risk, you need all those folks to make that happen.
Another question. Sorry,
Yeah.
I like to talk a lot. So when it comes to the teacher, right? You mentioned, I believe you said she was on the phone during some of what was later found out, right? What was alleged. Was she arrested at whatever campus she works at? Was that what happened yesterday?
Yesterday, she was called in by the principal and she was arrested. Anything else?
Can you just give us an idea of sort of what happens in the future when you make a huge takedown, like we
Yeah.
mentioned, when we talk about 20 people who are all involved with drug trafficking in
Yeah.
our community?
Yeah.
What does that do? I mean, obviously other people sort of fill some of these holes. What does that do for our community?
Yeah, that's a great question, and all the questions are great. But so what we're going to do is there's 6 different indictments, 20 different defendants, and so we will do what we normally do. We'll be, some of them will cooperate, some of them will not, some of them will provide information. Hopefully, we can keep, going and building more cases. Some of them will take us to trial, and so even though the initiative is somewhat new in the past couple of years, and we've made some gains as it relates to violent crime. The work we do is we've been doing for decades, and it's the idea of you've now charged the case, and now we're going to meet our constitutional obligations and deal with prosecuting the case. If there's no other questions, thank you so much.